Hello, folks. Good morning. Welcome to the Young and Sane podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Tamarflourish. If you're new, welcome to this great platform of great minds. And if you are a returning listener, I want to appreciate you for showing up every Friday or whatsoever day to give a listen on this podcast. And I do not take it for granted, so I want to appreciate you. So, welcome to yet another episode of the Young and Sane podcast. And I'm Tama Flourish. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you. Thank you for tuning in today. So, from today's topic, you already know what we're talking about. So, yeah, today we're going to be talking about women. So let's talk about women. Um, who is a woman? What defines a woman, right? So those are basically what we're going to be focusing on. Last week we talked about men, and 2 weeks ago we also talked about men, highlighting who a real man is. And it took like 2 episodes for us to actually deal succinctly with that topic. So I hope that we're going to go fast on this. So yeah, welcome once again. Let's jump right into it. So who is a woman? A woman is a person who is born a female, right? A female adult. A person who is born a female adult. Now, a lot of people define women or a woman as someone who identifies as a woman. I do not believe so, right? They're just two genders and two genders alone, and is defined, your sex or gender is defined by the kind of reproductive system you have, right? And there's just two. Did I say reproductive system? Oh my god. Yeah, Shay, that's what it's called, reproductive system. So, and we just have two kinds of reproductive system: the male reproductive system or organs, and the female reproductive system or organs. And that's it. There's no middle ground. No, it doesn't happen to science, the original science as we know it, because these days people are trying to tweak science and make it all of that look like we are confused human beings. But what we were taught from primary school in biology, there is no um there is no kind of cell division mechanism that makes a male reproductive system or organ now change to a female reproductive system or organ, or make a female reproductive system or organ to now change to a male reproductive system or organ. It doesn't happen like that. And so, based on this theory and this philosophy, that's what we're going to be talking about: a woman or a man. A lot of people say a woman is someone who identifies as a woman. No, that's a lie. A woman is someone who is born female and is now a female human or female adult, right? Is ascribed to before birth, even. Okay. And so, society has held a definition of who women are, or who a woman should be, or who a woman is. And the baseline definition is how she looks, her body shape, her body figure, her body size. And that's not definitive of what a woman is. A woman is not defined by her looks, a woman is not defined by her shape, a woman is not defined by her body size. But you see, this thing is so ingrained in our subconscious that there's a certain kind of human that is going to appear, and I'm going to think, okay, this looks like a man. Why? Because I'm not seeing the curves, I'm not seeing the full breast or any presence of it. and I just go all of a sudden and say, this is not a woman, or this does not look like a woman. And I'm so ashamed of this, but I once in a while I catch myself in this very dark space of looking at people who are women because they are born female humans, and I'm trying to say, there's this subconscious aspect of me that's trying to look down on them, or even somehow categorize them or define them by their looks and their body shape and their, you know how they look. And it happens so subconsciously that when I begin to think of what I'm thinking about, I'm like, I'm so ashamed. I just become so ashamed of myself and embarrassed by my own reaction, because it's like a sentiment that is ingrained in my subconscious about how a woman should look, or what defines a woman. And it's so shameful. But this is where I think a lot of us in society fall under. And it's so difficult to, like, be liberated from this mindset, because it's just there. When you go on the internet and you just browse pictures of a woman, you just begin to see a lot of things. And we don't even make it easy on ourselves when we're talking about women, and then we want to talk about real beauty, a real woman, beautiful woman. The picture that we are painting with those words is a woman that has curves, a woman that has shape. Like, it's just there. A woman that has all these attributes that make men to want her, to want to fall for her, to want to desire her. And it's just about curves, attracted to men, or men are attracted to her. She knows how to move a man. Like, it's just that baseline, right? And it's just so bad. It's just so bad. It is just so bad. If you want to check out what I'm talking about, just go and browse, um you know beautiful woman. Like, use some kind of keywords: real woman, or beautiful woman, or real beauty, and you will see the kinds of pictures that pop up. And you just find out that we're just giving women a definition based on their looks, based on their body shape, based on their body size. And I begin to wonder, especially because it's getting worse and worse, even with the gender confusion that's becoming so popular and rampant. Because how do young adolescent girls, you know the young ones that are coming up, how do they now, what kind of mindset do they now begin to build about who a girl should be? You see very slim girls, and some people want a real woman to be slim. Some people, when we talk about very big women, women that are on the plus size, they refer to them as big, bold, and beautiful. That's that defines a woman in some people's context. Then in other people's context, it's just they're referring to very slim and slender people. They are wondering, what should the metrics for being a woman be? I'm very certain that young adolescents of this generation, they are getting more and more confused, because how do you define a real woman's body size or shape now? Like, they will be asking themselves, should I embrace my body as it is, or should I strive to change my body by losing fat and gaining muscle, or should I put on makeup to present my best self, or should I wear no makeup to show my true beauty? Like, I'm very sure that these questions will always be popping up in their mind, whether consciously or subconsciously. So they begin to question themselves on how they will be able to prove to other people, whether it's through their body, right, that they are really women, you know, in this society. And there's just a lot of messages that's flying up and down about who a real woman is. That a real woman has curves, a real some people say a real woman can have a tummy and still look yummy, big tummy, that it doesn't matter. Own yourself, own your body, positive body image. Some people believe that a real woman is someone that diets her curves away, you know, um, you know, like put yourself on diet so that you become very slim and slender. Some other people say if you are dieting away your curves, you're dieting away your femininity. Don't change your body if you have curves, so else you're not going to be a real woman anymore. Some people say um if you're a skinny woman, that's not sexy and that's not a real woman. Who say when you have a strong, big, bold body, it beats skinny every time. So, like, we're just putting ourselves against ourselves, right? Women come in different shapes, sizes, and just streamlining the definition of women based on how they look now makes it a tug of war between choosing this balance, this part or the other part, the big, bold and beautiful part or the skinny, was actually real beauty, right? Some people believe that girls who are naturally skinny are lucky. Who mentioned that? Um, and then the fact that some people think, and this is part of the things that are buried in my subconscious, that when a woman does not have curves, at least a little bit of curves, she's like jeans without pockets. God, sometimes when I try when I just pay attention to what my subconscious mind categorize women to be, I become very ashamed. I know I've mentioned that before, but I just want to, like, it's something that's so shameful because it's like I'm expecting her to be curvy in a certain kind of way for her to be deserving of love and attention and worth, and it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my god. So these are just a lot of things that um society is going through on trying to shift the pendulum to who a woman is who she should be, who a real woman is, how she should look, and all of that. And it's just not pretty at all. I think modern day femininity, feminism, and all of those concepts are coming up with defining images of women to be that women are just beautiful, right? Beautiful comes in all shapes and sizes. That every woman, every girl, every woman is beautiful, no matter what size or shape, and that beauty has no size, whether you have curves or not. Then all women are real, all their bodies are beautiful. And I kind of, right, I kind of agree with them, totally agree with them, not kind of, totally agree with them that beautiful comes in all shapes and sizes, and it does not matter the shape or the size. And now it takes me to the point of what matters, and what matters is the inward parts of a woman. That is what defines a real woman. From my point of view, that is what defines a real woman. We are not defined, men are not defined by their looks, they are not defined by their shapes, sizes, curves, no curves, skinny, big, fat, no. What should matter is our inside. And scripture puts it in the way that I love, that a woman who is clothed with gentleness and quiet spirit, right? And then even Proverbs 31 puts it in a better way. Talks about a virtuous woman. A virtuous woman is a woman of value, of great strength. Not strength as in um, you know, power or might or all of those things, but strength as in emotional fortitude, right? And the ability to nurture, to birth, to hold the tension between things, and to birth things that lead to greatness, that bring about greatness, that bring about fruitfulness, that bring about positive impact on all of those things. So that is what I think should matter when we talk about women. Should be the inward part, should be the inner part, right? Um, Real women can be can be in any form or shape or size. They can be curvy, slender, chubby, skinny, voluptuous, gangly, muscular, any kind of body. It's okay. It's okay, right? Any kind of body is okay. Now, this does not mean that you shouldn't take care of yourself, right? That's not what we're talking about. But in whatever form, shape, or size that you're born into this world, of course, there is space for improvement if you're obese and all of that. But now seeking to alter your container, seeking to alter your form to look a certain kind of way in order for you to fit the container or the equation or the um label of being a real woman is wrong. Very, very wrong. All right. So that's what um I'm all about here. Right. So let's get into the inward parts of a woman. What really defines a true woman? Since we have spoken about a woman not being defined by her body, her outlooks, her outward parts. That's not what defines a real woman. It's actually the contents of her heart, how she is on her inside. That's what defines her. So let's go over to you know this content. What should it be? What should it look like? What should it be? Now, a real woman is a woman of character. She's gentle. Um, she's able to be quiet. She's intelligent emotionally and intellectually. Um, she's patient. She's patient. And saying all these things, I do not want to. I'm trying to take my time to explain all those things, and I also at the same time want to contrast it with what we've known women or a real woman to be in ancient times. In the ancient times, I do not think that they were particular about women as to the form, size, or whatever it is now that we obsess about in this our generation. I think they were also concerned about the content of a woman, the inward parts of a woman. But as I'm mentioning it now, quiet, patient, enduring, gentle, a woman who has character. It's maybe misconstrued with the days of old where women were put under subjugation, intimidation, a lot of abuse, right? Put down, less of humans, and they had to take it, they had to be patient with it, and then it was defined as having character if they could endure such abuse, if they could endure such intimidation and disrespect of their humanity. That's not what I'm talking about. So I just want to point out that being patient, being gentle, being a woman of character and enduring does not in any way mean that she should be suppressed and should take it. A woman is of noble character. That is sure. And noble character does not mean that she should be quiet or silent in the face of intimidation. No, she understands the difference between disrespect and intimidation, and she should not be able to take intimidation. She should not be able to take disrespect. In fact, she should remove herself from any place, any environment that tries to disrespect or intimidate her. Please, someone patiently enduring abuse and intimidation and violence does not in any way show that she's a woman. I just wanted to point that out. When I'm talking about a woman is someone who is of character, I'm talking about of course someone that has the fruits of the spirit, as Galatians chapter 5 verse 22 says, love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, self-control, you know, temperance, patience, and all of that. These are fruits of the spirit and is what defines her character. The strength of her character is, founded on the fruits of the spirit. Can she be able to endure intimidation and abuse and all of those things? Yes, but I'm not saying it in a way where she's enduring those things. I'm not saying it in the context of she enduring those things because she does not have self-worth or value. No, I just want us to get this clearly and straightforward. All right, she's a woman of character. She exhibits the fruit of the spirit. Of course, as I've mentioned, the fruit of the spirit, we know that she's a woman who is devoted to God. So a real woman is one that is devoted to God, giving completely to God, right? Is giving completely to God, in obedience, in consecration, in sanctification, in purity of heart, and all of those things. And it shows in her day to day living. She's diligent, she's understanding, she's very, very understanding, she's emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature, and emotionally aware. She's not afraid to own her emotions. She's not afraid to understand other people's emotions. She's not afraid to do all of those things. And I get it that society tries to classify women as the more emotional beings. And of course, that could be true because based on the fact that we are always prone to go to the emotional side of things, to see things emotionally, to weigh things emotionally, to listen emotionally, to judge things emotionally. Of course, it's established that women are more emotional. But where I do not agree is where people say men are not emotional. I also think that men are very emotional, equally as emotional as women, but it doesn't show in the way it shows up in women. But we're not talking about men in this podcast, so I'm not going to go in depth on that. I spoke about it in our last podcast episode. It's just that I think men have only been able to categorize their emotions, whatever kinds of emotions or grades of emotions that they feel, into two um broad categories, which is either happiness or anger. Every other emotion is just within these two spectrum, right? But I do think that men are equally as emotional as women, all right, but it may not show up the way women's emotions show up. So yes, back to what I was saying, women are emotional, right? So a real woman is not afraid to own her emotions, and she's emotionally aware. She's very in tune with how she feels and understands why she feels the way she feels. And because she understands why she feels the way she feels, she gives herself grace. And by being gentle with herself and giving herself grace and compassion, she also extends that to other people. So when people say things to her, when people, behave in certain ways to her, she can actually understand where they're coming from, understand their emotion, um, and she's able to respond to what, or give her energy to whatever she's supposed to give her energy to. And she's that emotional, like emotionally intelligent enough to be able to respond in the way that it would be fruitful, or restrained from responding, because she's emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent of her emotions and also other people's emotions. We've spoken about the fruit of the spirit. She's kind, um, she's gentle, understanding, she has self control, and all of those things. Now, I want to go to the part of um her self esteem. The reason why I think that a lot of women in this day and age are now so particular about defining women with their looks, with their body size and shape, is because the element of self esteem, and self worth has been quite absent from the women race for a very long time. So, say in the days of old, our fathers, forefathers, grandfathers, whatever kinds of fathers in their days, right? The way that they defined a true woman was when she's able to perform certain roles in the society, right? If she has good character, she can endure abuse, violence, intimidation. Not just that, if she can allow herself to be subjugated and subdued by men. Another way that they defined real women was if a woman could be able to get married, right? The first two things I mentioned were the things that defined her character. And so if she's able to endure insubordinate, endure intimidation, if she's able to put herself in a place where she can easily be subdued, subjugated. She had character. We were defined as okay, she has character, she has patience, she has endurance, and all of those things. And those things usually qualified her for marriage. And once she's married, another another metrics by which she was judged as a woman and a real woman was if she was capable of getting pregnant, right? Getting pregnant within a stipulated time frame that society expects that she gets pregnant. And so if she's fertile to get pregnant, she's also categorized as a woman. And then if she's able to give birth, and not just give birth, but give birth naturally through the natural means, then that ultimately makes her a woman. And you know what spice up her womanness or her womanhood, or what makes her even more real as a woman, is if she's able to cater to her husband, her children, have a large family, give birth to a lot of kids, have a large family, take care of all of them, and make her life purpose cooking meals, birthing children, and taking care of those children. And because that continued over time, especially in the African society, a lot of women's self-esteem became eroded, and so our self-worth and self-esteem became attached to our roles, to our responsibilities, to our functions as girls. If you're able to do house chores, if you are obedient, if you can endure intimidation, if you can endure whatsoever, if you can be weak enough to take a lot of things and bullshit and do a lot of household functions, then you are girl enough. And then to cross into the woman threshold, you have the character that can make you by men to get married to you. And then when you are married, you can give birth, you can take care of children, you can, do household chores, you can build a home, then that ultimately defines you as a real woman. So this rinse and repeat pattern of um you know this rinse and repeat pattern of um women put in these roles and responsibilities and functions over and over and over and over time eroded the place of self-worth, the place of self-esteem. And so a woman has no confidence that she is a woman except she performs these roles, except she's able to deliver in these functions and responsibilities, and is applauded by society, and is held in high esteem by society because she, you know, performed all of these roles. And so over time, women just lacked a lot of self-esteem and self-confidence and self-worth because their self-esteem, their self-worth, their self-confidence was attached to their roles. So you see that when industrialization began, or a revolution began, it now became attached to how much it could conquer a man. And because certain things were aesthetically pleasing to men, her curves, the size of her breast, the size of her bum, the size, the how tiny her waist is, a lot of things now became, women's self-esteem and self-worth. What it did, what again, it shifted to these things. So the level of your self-worth or self-esteem is now founded on, do you have curves? Are you Can a man look at you once and look at you again? And so you see how shifting um women's um self-esteem and self-worth just became because of these trends, these stereotypes, all of these issues over time, right? And evolving from just having curves, you know, women's self-esteem and self-worth being attached to now having curves, how they look, how you can beat your face up with so much makeup and you look, enhanced, your beauty looks enhanced. It now evolved from that to how you can do without a man, how you can make so much money, how you can be independent and strong just on your own, just by yourself. That a lot of people are now defining a woman by these metrics, right? Independent, strong. It now means that you have a lot of self-esteem and self-worth if you can do without a man, if you can make so much money, if you can become a boss lady, if you can become an entrepreneur, if you can rise up in your whatever field or career or business that you're doing. So you see how the um, self worth of women, the self esteem of women changes over time with how what they can, their roles, their functions, and even how they look. And so the issue of self-esteem and self-worth in being a real woman is now very, very dicey. But here in this podcast, I'm here to inform you that a real woman is a woman whose self-esteem and self-worth is not founded on the roles, the functions, the titles, just whatever she can attain in society, whose self-esteem is not founded on how she looks, how much she can conquer men, whose self-esteem is not even founded on her character. You know, I'm here to tell you that a real woman is a woman who her self-esteem is not based on any of these things that I've mentioned now, but whose self-esteem is solely based on who God has made her to be. And this brings me to the subject of identity. Just like a woman, as we said earlier, that a woman is a woman because she was born a female human, a female adult, a female human being, right? So based on that, because God made her a female human being, so she just has confidence that she's a female human being. That's who God has made her to be, right? Um, Physically, and she's confident in that person that God has made her to be. Oh boy, it sounds easier said than done, but this is just the reality of things. God has made her a female human, and she's just confident in the fact that God made me a female human, and that's enough, and that is why I'm a human. And so you are worthy of love, you are worthy of attention, you're worthy of all of the good things coming to you. You are valuable because God made you a female human. And then you now possess you, of course you love God because he made you this, right? You're devoted to God, and you exhibit the fruits of the spirit: love, joy, peace, kindness, gentleness, self-control, temperance, patience, and all of those things, right? You are devoted to him. You possess all of these qualities, all of this character. You're emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent, and all of these things. But foundationally, your self-worth and your self-esteem is not based on anything. It's not based on your looks, it's not based on your voice, it's not based on your body size or shape, it's not based on your roles or your function, but it's securely founded on the fact that, well, God thought it fit to make me a female human. And that's all that matters. So this is who a real woman is. Someone who has her self-esteem and self-worth founded securely on who God made her to be. All right. So these are basically the things that make a woman a real woman. And as I highlighted earlier, you know, a lot of people quote Proverbs chapter 31 about the virtuous woman. Of course, there's all of those things, virtuous woman who is valuable and does all of these things. And that is solely applicable to, married folks. Majorly quotes that scripture when talking to married folks or ladies that are looking forward to getting married. And that's true. All right. So a real woman is all of these things that I've highlighted, and I don't think it should be that complicated. If you remember how I, spoke about the roles and responsibilities in the days of our great grandfathers that determine the self worth or the value of a woman, and how it came to the modern times and what is even refining itself to be in this day and age, um, you would see that each of these dispensation lacked the focus of who a real woman is supposed to be. And I've highlighted all of these things, right? But I also want to add to that even though a lot of people quote Proverbs 31 to be a virtuous woman, and virtuous woman in the context of one who is marriageable and married, but a real woman, whether married or not married, would have most of these attributes highlighted in Proverbs 31. She would be, worth more than precious. You see, verse 10 of Proverbs 31 talks about a woman who is far above rubies, who her price is far above rubies. I think that is just referring to her worth, her value, her self esteem, her confidence. She's so valuable. She's so valuable. She's so valuable, right? She is so valuable. She's so worthy. And remember where I talked about basing your worthiness on the fact that God made you who you are. That's enough. That's enough to make you valuable. God made you a female human. That's enough to make you valuable. God made you a female human. That's enough to make you worthy. That's enough to make you worthy. Worthy of love, right? And because you are made a female human, because you are a female human adult, you are now going to ensure that because God made me this way and I'm devoted to God, it's going to be a natural consequence of just expressing the fruits of the spirit, right? Being understanding, and being emotionally intelligent. It's not something that um you should, I don't know how to put it, but a real woman has all of these things, right? A real woman has all of these things. But now working to perform certain roles or perform certain functions to become these things is not necessary. You are worthy and deserving of love. You are far above rubies just because God made you. Oh, just because God made you. You are valuable. Very, very valuable. Now I like, that's what verse 10 says, right? She's not on any of these things because she's not valuable and worthy because she's performing certain roles and functions. I just want us to get that. That was what I was trying to point out in that verse. And now I love verse 26 again, that says, when she speaks, her words are wise, and kindness is the rule when she gives instruction. So I'm reading from the NLT version. The King James version says, she openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. So this goes back to what I mentioned about a real woman being a woman of understanding, she's emotionally aware of her own emotions, she's emotionally aware of her own self, and equally emotionally aware of other people. And so she's able to give grace, she's able to speak to people with compassion, she's able to speak to people with understanding, she's able to be gentle when relating with people. So that is what this verse 26 is just trying to highlight, that when she speaks, her words are wise, she's emotionally intelligent, she knows what to say at the right time, and kindness is the rule when she gives instructions. So whenever she opens her mouth to say a thing, her tongue knows to be kind, right? Um, Another verse that I love is verse 30. A lot of people quote, which says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. NLT version says, charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. Now, my emphasis is a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. And this just goes to emphasize the point I made earlier about a real woman being someone who is devoted to God. All right. So that's basically what um, a real woman is. Now, talking about the place of looks and her outward appearance and all of that, she does not base, again, let me highlight this point that I've made before, her self-worth is not based on how she looks on the outside. Doesn't mean that she won't take care of herself, no, just go to show that something internal determines her self-worth, and that internal thing is the fact that she's very confident and okay and secure in the fact that God made her a female human, and based on that, she cares for herself, she cares for her body from inside out. And so someone that is secure in the fact that I'm a woman, I'm a real woman, I'm worthy, right? I'm confident in being a woman because God made me a female human. That kind of person already believes it on her inside, and so she's going to take care of herself, right? And even when she tries to get into fashion, or do a little bit of beating up her face, makeup and all of those things, fashion will just be an expression of herself, and it will not be a definition of who she is. Fashion will just be a bona fide form of her self-expression, and it will not be because she wants to draw attention to herself. She wants to draw the attention of other people to herself, to look at her like I'm worthy, I'm beautiful. No, she's already secure in the fact that I'm a female human, that God made me to be, and I'm beautiful just like that. And so I'm just doing fashion, I'm just doing makeup, I'm just doing all of those things because I just want to express myself, just a form of my self expression and nothing more. It doesn't define me. She can be good without fashion, she can be good without makeup, and she's still secure in herself. Now, that um, woman, that real woman, she has this belief and this mindset that sleeping around does not in any way make her a woman, does not validate her womanhood. You know, going from one man to the other, um, attracting them, always being in their beds, always trying to get their money or um, get sex from them does not make her a woman. All right, she has that belief, she has that mindset. Okay, so basically, that's just who a real woman is. If you have any thoughts on what you think a real woman is, you can drop your comments down in the comment section. And I'm going to be there reading your comments. But basically, this is all that I want us to talk about women. I also want to add a bit of a few things. I know that in this day and age, a lot of people say women are complicated, women are complex, and that's true. Now, I think because of how differently we express our emotions from men, it can be a bit confusing, it can be a bit complicated, especially for men to actually understand, okay, if a woman is acting this way, this is what she actually means, this is what is actually going on. But it's now on the path of a real woman, someone who is a real woman. Okay, a woman is a woman, but yeah, a real woman, talking about a real woman, she's that part of being emotionally aware and emotionally mature to communicate what she feels. And like, communication is not a big deal for her because she understands herself, she can be able to understand other people, but even more, she can be able to communicate effectively what her needs are, what her fears are. She's not afraid to like communicate what her fears are and all of those things. And there's this part about, I've listened to some people say that you don't exactly know what a woman wants. I think that and I was listening to a relationship coach that said something, and I totally agree with what she was saying, that a woman will always be herself and secure in sharing herself wholeheartedly with a man. Now, this is romantic relationships. If she finds safety and trustworthiness in that relationship, and that's just the fact. Because now I think that because a lot of men are just carrying about the mindset that women are complicated and complex, you cannot really understand them, they do not really have any desire to now be patient, right? To really understand a woman. And the truth is, if you're patient enough to really understand a woman, how her emotions work and all of that, you just find out that they are, after all, not that complicated. It's just as simple as ABC. And if you can provide safety and trustworthiness for that woman, I promise you your relationship is going to thrive. She, of course, if all of these things I've mentioned, she as a real woman, you know, gets to know all of these things and also um begin to work on whatever aspect of herself to now become this real woman, you're going to find out that she will not be afraid to communicate, she will not be afraid to be herself. And you will find out if you provide a safe space, right? If you provide her with safety and trustworthiness, she's going to be able to be open to you. So that saying that women are too complicated is not all that correct sometimes. If men, you are patient, to really understand the woman, and also if you provide for her a safe space um and trustworthiness, she would be able to become the kind of woman that you want. Now this brings me to the last point that I do want to highlight. A lot of women are not real women, and there are a lot of reasons why. Of course, I talked about who a woman is and then who a real woman is, right? There's not much difference between the two, it's just mindset and majorly trauma. Someone who is a female human, you would expect that she's supposed to be a real woman, right? But it's not always the case. And of course, we all know this experientially. I'm not even talking to people. Um, right? All of us know we've actually seen women. The things I described about a real woman, we've actually seen women fall short of it, and it's basically because of trauma. There's a lot of trauma in this world, and it's holding a lot of people hostage. Even last week when we talked about who a man is, and then when we talk about who a real man is, um, you will not see a lot of real men in society because of what? Trauma. So there is a lot of healing that needs to be done. A lot of people do not know. And even when they know that this is who a real man is, sometimes the blocks that they have to fight, the obstacles, the limitations that they have to fight to become that is just a lot. It's like war, third world war. And so it's just not that easy. But you see, when you seek healing, you're going to find out that that aspect of you being a real man or a real woman is going to unravel, is going to unfold beautifully as it is expected to. So this is just the last point I want to make in this podcast episode, and I'm urging you guys to actually seek healing. I know that the subject of trauma is rampant everywhere and all of those things, but it's something that you really cannot heal from trauma. You can heal from trauma on your own if you're very determined, but because of how difficult it is to get into the path of healing, you're going to find it very difficult doing on your own because of how messy that journey can be. So you need someone to guide you. You need someone to help you out, and you should reach out to um, professionals, right? Coaches or trauma therapists to actually help with um, trauma healing sessions and all of those things. Because I know that a lot of people desire to be better. I know that a lot of people get into the space of sanity, because trust me, if you have a lot of trauma, all of us that have a lot of trauma are still insane people, no matter how you want to think that that is insulting, but that's just the truth. Because there are certain ways that you behave that a normal healed human is not expected to behave in that way. But I get it. This world is broken, everything is falling, and there's just a lot of brokenness, and that is why we need healing. So if you seek to be sane as a young person, everybody is young, There's no one that is old. And so if you seek sanity, if you seek healing, if you desire to want to become the real man and the real woman that you are on your inside, you want that realness, you want that authenticity, you want that real man part of you or real woman part of you to begin to show up, then you need to get in on the journey of healing. And so, um, yes, if you would love to get in on your journey of healing, you can send me a message on WhatsApp or send me a message, a DM on Instagram. I'm going to drop my Instagram handle at Tamarflourish, Tamarflourish at Tamarflourish. And if you want to send me a message on WhatsApp, you want to comment your healing journey, you can send me a message on 09030251107. Let me call it again: 09030251107. All right, you ought to begin that journey of healing. We're all on the journey of healing, and we're going to get there to the permanent site by God's grace. So, thank you so much for listening on this podcast episode. I remain your host, Tama Flourish. Um, See you next time on another episode. Bye.